All right, ready? Okay. In this video, I am going to cover everything that you need to know before entering a career as a machinist. I'm Peter. I've been a machinist for over 10 years, and here are some of the most valuable things that no one told me before becoming a machinist. A few things that I really wish someone would have told me, and I'm going to give them to you in the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we're going to start with the good. It is very, very rewarding. It is nothing else in the world, to me, feels like when you have spent days and days and days working on a part and then it being completed and it is just this shiny, clean part that only you have. Sometimes these are one-off parts that no one else has made, and it feels amazing to be able to get that made and know that you did it yourself. I remember James May saying something along the lines of a certain car giving him the fizz, and if you know what I'm talking about, you can absolutely get the fizz from machining. You can make an impact on other people's lives through this work as well. And by that, I mean someone comes in, they could be losing thousands of dollars a day from their business because this one part isn't functioning. They could be a farmer, they could be a rancher, they could be a newspaper printing company. But they have employees, they have a livelihood that's counting on this, and just making this part can really affect their life. And it's a way that other jobs maybe won't get you that satisfaction of being able to help someone else. You always think like, oh, a teacher helps other people, a therapist helps other people, but in being a machinist, you can also help other people, which is the very satisfying piece of this. It is also lucrative if you apply it correctly. Some people think that being a machinist is an archaic job, that it doesn't really exist anymore. In some ways, that's the case. There's a lot of robots out there doing the jobs of people that used to do them. But if you apply it correctly, and when I say that, I mean that you have to be diversified. So even if you go into manufacturing of one part, I know that there's companies out there that they make whatever, they make their one thing and it makes them $1 million a year. But they're always willing to take on those smaller jobs because they know that they might lose that $1 million a year job, and they're going to have to rely on other people in their network, in their community, to be able to do that. So if you're going to go into it thinking that you can be a gunsmith who just works on Civil War era rifles, it's not really going to work out. I'm sure there's someone out there that's making money on that, but it probably took them a whole lifetime struggling to be able to get to that point. Let's move on to the bad. It is physically demanding. I have spent thousands and thousands of hours standing on concrete floors, and it has had major physical effects on my body. I can say firsthand. I'm only 27, and in the 10 years that I've been doing this, it has substantially affected my physical well-being. It is extremely dangerous. I have machined parts that are over 2,000 pounds spinning in a lathe, and they're over 10 feet long. That if that thing comes after you, I would bet who the winner is, and it's definitely not you in that scenario. Another thing is mental strain. So the danger of the situations every day like that is incredibly strenuous. It becomes very taxing in that way. But there's also the strain of working with other people. This is a very, very communication intensive job. And I think a lot of people going into it think that, oh, it's going to be all, I just make my little parts and I get to do these cool projects all day long. It's not. A huge component of it is working with other people. Those other people, frequently, as machinists, everyone knows the machinist is the smartest person in the room, which means you have 10 people who are the smartest person in the room. They can be really difficult to deal with. But put your ego aside and be able to listen to someone else, be able to talk to someone else, and not be so offended by what they're saying, because a lot of the time these people do know a lot about what they're talking about. Learn to work with these people. You can be able to work around your own indifferences, and you can have a much less mentally strenuous time. Now, here's the ugly part. So we covered the good, the bad. Now we're on to the ugly. It's a huge commitment. you are committing your time to someone else. You're committing, if you're starting at the very bottom, you're committing to sweeping the floor all day long for maybe years. And then after that, you're committing to drilling holes, probably like 5,000 of the same hole, and it's going to be so boring. But you know that you're going to work your way up along that chain, and eventually you're going to be able to get to where you're going. Other than the commitment, you need a lot of tools and or a lot of equipment. I can't stress this enough. Even if you're going to work for someone and you never plan on starting your own business, you're going to spend a lot of money on tools. Just as an employee at a job shop where I didn't even need anything that specialized, I probably spent $5,000 on tools. That's about $1,000 a year on tools. Most of these were measuring tools. They don't expect you to have your 23 to 24 inch micrometer, but they do expect you to have your 0 to 6 set and your calipers and wrenches and screwdrivers and things like that, because if you're going and borrowing a tool from someone and you say borrow it 2 or 3 times, that probably means that you need to go and buy that tool. So that is a big piece of this. Now, I have my own shop that I'm sitting in right now, and I'm probably roughly $30,000 deep into it, including hand tools. That's all the machines I have in here. And I bought those machines, they're cheap. $30,000 would get you about half of a brand new lathe, the size that I have. So you need to take that into consideration. If you want to go do this on your own, you either need to take years and years and years, paycheck by paycheck, buying tools and collecting them, or you need to be prepared to shell out a huge amount of money just to be able to get started. And that doesn't even include tooling. You might be doing a job and you might break 5 inserts. Each of those inserts could be $10. So it is incredibly expensive to get into it at any level. And that is something that you really need to be aware of, is that it's a big commitment. You need a lot of stuff that you don't know right away. You might walk into an aerospace shop where you need some tenths micrometers, but if you're a shop like where I worked for 5 years, we didn't really need tenths micrometers that much. We could eyeball tenths on the micrometer. So you don't know what you're going to be walking into necessarily right off the bat. It's mentally strenuous, and it is very rewarding at the end of the day. So if you can work past those 2 things that are a little bit of a drawback, but not major drawbacks, and if you can keep your mental health in check, if you can keep your physical health in check, you can reap the benefits of this occupation, and you can have a very good, rewarding, lucrative career. Okay?
That sounded good.
Did it?
Yeah.
It felt so like